Paranormal Evidence.
Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices
Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. We got to do it. I am Chris.
I am Audra.
I am Tony.
Cherie.
I am Ron, and
I am Lourdes.
Look at that.
The whole crew.
I really hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Did everybody have a happy Thanksgiving?
yeah.
Yes.
It was good.
Good. That's right. Tony, I'm sure you guys went camping, right?
No, we went
Mining.
Oh,
for Apache Tears Obsidian.
yeah. I saw.
Hey.
I thought you were camping though.
I know I speak from all my ancestors when I say, haven't you fucking white people given us enough tears?
Good point. Good
Right.
point. But it was fun.
Damn, that's
It was fun.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Perfect.
you took our land, now you want our tears.
Uh-oh.
Quit crying, Chris. The one thing my mother always used to tell me, because we're Cherokee, right? At least they let us survive. So I'm thankful.
Yeah. I'm actually half Cherokee. My father is Italian. My mother's a Jeep.
Ron, you ain't right.
That's wrong.
Wait, right.
That's wrong.
That's funny.
My great grandmother was actually full-blooded Cherokee Indian.
Oh, the Old God tribe.
Yeah, the old God tribe.
My fourth great grandfather was Sequoia, though. See,
Woo.
I'm right here on the border of Oklahoma and Arkansas, and my mother was born in Short, and all of our relatives. My grandfather was a Little John, and his parents were Blackbirds, and they were the daughter. But going back, it was the daughter of Sequoia. So his house is about 40 minutes away from here.
That's cool.
But you said Little John?
You're gonna have to come down here, man. I'll take you to Solid Gee. We'll go see the Trail of Tears.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we'll go see it. We'll go see a lot. I'll show you some really cool stuff. Our burial mounds, our ceremonial sites, and everything down here.
Grace, you're related to Little John or the rapper Lil Jon?
I do.
No, he stole my name.
That's what
You know that.
50 Cent.
That's
awesome.
funny.
So I got some fun things to tell you about. We of course we drove up to Ohio to visit Audra's family for Thanksgiving, and on a normal day, it takes 8 to 9 hours, depending on how many times you stop to pee, how many times you gotta get gas, right? So on the way up there, it took us 8.5 hours cruising, Chris driving, right? It said 9 hours. Those of you that know Chris, it took me 8 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
Coming back.
Whole different story.
Coming back.
35 minutes?
Yeah,
I wish.
I wish. Coming back, it was we hit more snow in Virginia and West Virginia than we did in Ohio.
Yes.
Wow.
And from the time we hit Virginia until the time we hit North Carolina, it was bumper to bumper, stop and go through the snow and the sleet and the accidents. It took us 12 hours to get there.
Wow.
Ouch.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does. It does. But
But you got home.
my family's worth it. Huh, baby.
Your mom's worth it.
Difference in facial expressions, and that's
Do you guys switch driving or you?
No, Chris doesn't like to be a passenger.
No.
No, Chris gets motion sickness. No, Chris will not.
So I'm a passenger princess.
So you were sleeping. What you mean?
Passenger princess.
That's all over TikTok, don't you know?
I have no clue what the hell you're
Yeah.
talking about.
TikTok, it's a web service, kind of like Facebook. Never mind.
Yeah.
So, Shuri, do me a favor. Pop Geo's comment back up really quick. I want to address that one.
Which one? Okay, hang on. Let me look. Gio, where the hell are you?
Right there. You just went by him.
No, that's a different
Different Geo.
message. Hang on.
It was up in the beginning.
This guy, this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Geo, to answer your question, yes, there will no longer
Longer.
Longer.
be a live Entity Voices Paranormal show after next Monday. Next Monday will be a longer show, guys. We're going to start at 8:30, and we're going to go until somebody passes out. Just kidding.
That'll be me.
Now, it'll be a little bit longer show. We do have a guest next week. We have a really good guest to end our final show with. And then at the end, we're going to show you guys a couple special things from our time here doing the show for the last almost 5 years. Okay. We are going to miss all you guys too. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to bawl like a baby. We got a really good guest tonight. So, but Entity Voices may be ending. Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence may be ending. But Stay Haunted will live forever. I don't care what anyone else says.
Darn it all.
Show the tattoo, Chris. Show the tattoo.
That's right. Stay haunted.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's not easy. There you go. Stay Haunted will live forever.
What's up, Nando?
And everybody that's on my post knows exactly what Stay Haunted means. It's not just about being haunted. It's not about the actual definition of haunted. It means so much more. And that is about all I'm going to say to that. So we can talk about our guest because I don't want to sit here and blubber like an idiot.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got hats and tats to cover it.
Hats and tats. Okay, I'm going to stop there.
What he did there?
I'm going
And
to
if-
send you to the gallows.
The gallows.
Yeah.
We're being sent to the
I'm
gallows.
sending you to the gallows.
The gallows, Chris. Tell us
So-
about the gallows.
Yes, guys, once again, coming back to our show, nobody other than the Gallows, Bobby J. Gallo. Everybody say hello, Bobby.
There he is.
There you go, Mr. Gallo.
Welcome back.
You're muted, buddy.
Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, unmute yourself. There you go. He just got back from playing poker with Kenny Rogers at a Wild West.
I'm used to it. Yes.
We can't hear you.
Hey, Bobby, you're muted, bud.
That would be
There you
one.
go.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
My wife would say it's better the other way, so that's okay. I would say, Entity Voices might be going away, but friends are forever, and we're
That's
friends.
That's right.
That does not end. So
Correct.
that's what's cool.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
No, and we won't be live as Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence anymore, but as you guys can see, we are all still live and alive. And
yeah.
we will definitely still be involved in field work, and Montgomery House doesn't shut down because the podcast is over. So, guys, we will be at Gettysburg Bash every year. You'll see us out
We'll
there.
be out. As well, I'm sure everybody else. So.
But, Bobby, remind everybody what you do and how you got into this mess.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, sometimes it can be a mess. I've been doing this since 1989 myself as a researcher. I basically was doing this before the term paranormal investigator was ever coined. Back then we were called psychic investigators. And I started in an old theater that my great uncles built in Netcong, New Jersey, called the Palace Theater. An investigation which was actually recently written up in Weird New Jersey magazine decades later, because it was kind of a seminal investigation. And what had happened was, years later, when I raised a family, my kids, my two daughters, were enthralled by this brand new television show called Ghost Adventures. And you guys may have heard of it. I don't know. But what had happened was we were about 10 episodes in, And my kids had never known that I was a paranormal investigator. And I said, well, this is as good a time as any to tell them. And I said, kids, Daddy used to do that too. And this was we're going on about 14 years ago now when this happened. And the world completely stopped. They were totally enthralled. They couldn't believe it. And it was like that moment in the movie Spy Kids where the young boy said, when he finds out his parents are international spies, he goes, my parents aren't cool enough to be spies. So it was kind of like that moment, and immediately they wanted to go ghost hunting. No fear, no hesitation. And I was really surprised by the simplicity of what these guys were doing on TV and how remarkably similar it was to what I was doing decades earlier. So I brushed up a little bit on the equipment, scouted out some locations to investigate, and we went out as a family unit to investigate. And all I wanted was one picture, one EVP. At the time, orbs were big, so we were looking for an orb. Anything, one thing, and I would have been happy. But what happened was, as a family unit, we ended up getting loads of evidence, more than I was seeing these guys get on TV. And maybe it was the respectful way that my kids were approaching the investigations. Maybe it was the intention. I really don't know. But I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to maybe put one or two of these videos, because, I'm your typical dad and I'd be taping everything. Let's put a video out on YouTube. And back then you could count the number of people doing this on YouTube on one hand. Mm-hmm. And that's no lie. And all of a sudden, our first few videos went viral. We were getting tens of thousands of views, but it wasn't just because of the paranormal evidence. It was the dynamic of the family who ghost hunts. So I thought then maybe after we did a whole load of these things, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to put it down on paper. So I wrote my first book, and here it is right here, Family Spirits. Nice. And that book, it shot to number 3 on Amazon in the adventure travel category for weeks. It sold more copies in the United Kingdom than it did here in the United States. And then we started, it's just basically blossomed from there. We've been doing it ever since. I wrote a second book, Family Spirits 2, which actually there's a spot in that book that I actually want to read when we present one of the pieces of evidence. But that's basically our story.
Nice.
That is fantastic.
And you guys still do it together?
We do.
Do you?
And Ron knows this. In the past year, our YouTube channel has really taken off. We're now at about 32,000 subscribers and growing by about 200 per day.
Wow, good for you.
I really don't know why. There's a few things that we've done differently that are causing it, I believe, but I think things just started to hit. Thank you, Jenny.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. That's
Now, before we get deep into Bobby's evidence and story about his family, there is one thing that we need to do. There's a clip on here that Tony provided for us that I want to make sure I play for you guys. So here we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
so for those of you who are not aware, yes, it is Cherie's birthday.
Cheers.
Happy birthday.
Oh,
Welcome.
She's
And the alarm goes off. Just kidding.
So what people don't realize,
It's actually
what people don't realize is Tony's camera's reversed. That's actually 45.
yes, 45.
Yeah.
It's reversed?
She looks like she's 24. Never mind.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you for playing that. I just wanted
Thank
to
you, guys.
wish her another
Absolutely.
happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yes, yes.
Tony has a spanking for you after the show.
54.
Uh-huh.
54 of them, actually.
45.
Yeah, 45. Sorry, 45.
His camera's reversed.
That's
remember?
right. That's right.
Trying to help Tony out here for putting the 5-4 on the freaking cake
for everybody to
Get after it.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So back to Bobby. Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Sherry.
Thank you, sir.
So the first clip I have, Bobby, is evidence clip number 3, made with children. Is that what it says? You cut it off. Made with.
No. Don't worry about that part. Do we have
like
evidence
incriminating
number
evidence.
1?
Oh yeah. Is that how you want them? Because
Yeah. Let's start with evidence clip number 1, but it's important for me to give you a little bit of context before the clip.
Okay.
This is one of our earliest pieces of evidence. When you see this piece of evidence, you're going to see us. This was maybe our 5th investigation, which was really, really early. And it was at Kings Mountain Battlefield in North Carolina. And one of the most pervasive phenomenon at that battlefield are the sounds of a phantom horse. Now, we didn't know what to expect. I did know that this was one of the phenomenon at the battlefield. But when I got there, and I want to let everybody know that we were wearing all rubber-soled shoes at the time, I was the only one who experienced this one live as an AVP, an auditory voice phenomenon, but it's really not a voice. The rest of my family did not hear this. It was only after we got home and did evidence review that I realized we also caught it on our EVP recorder that we had running the entire time. So you're going to see me experience it, and then you're going to see me doing the evidence review.
okay, here we go.
They're right in front of us. Right where you are, Daddy.
Okay, folks, you know what? I know I might be sounding a little melodramatic here, but I am not kidding when I say this, but twice we were walking this way and I heard a horse behind us. I heard a galloping of hooves, and it was coming from up there. And I just had Renee put the camera back on because I want to see if we could get anything. Every time I talk, something happens. That was just from a tree. Debunked. Now, this one thing I want you to know about this next EVP is that one of the most well-known phenomena at Kings Mountain is people hearing a phantom person on horseback. Some people have actually seen him, but more people have actually heard him. I heard this twice. I was the only person in my team to actually hear a galloping of a horse because I was trailing everybody else. I was walking in the back because they all basically walk faster than I do. And I heard galloping. The first time I just dismissed it as my imagination, but the second time I actually stopped and said, hey, I just heard a horse. And no one else heard it. And everybody thought it was just my imagination. Here it is on audio, the famous phantom horse galloping at Kings Mountain Park. Listen to this.
What?
Okay.
Did you see something?
I heard a horse. Listen to that again. Listen to that again. That, folks, is a horse galloping. That is the sound of a horse galloping. Now, at first we tried to debunk that as possibly our footsteps, but we listened to over an hour of audio, and at no point do our footsteps ever sound like that. Plus, we were all wearing rubber-soled sneakers. There was no way that was us, and there was nothing else there that could have made that noise. One more time. Okay.
Did you see something?
I heard a horse.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a couple EVPs in there.
Yeah,
You got EVP in there for sure.
the word something comes out for sure. I don't know what's after that.
That place was loaded. We actually, if you watch that episode, which is we call it's Kings Mountain, and then we did Return to Kings Mountain, which you're actually going to see, this is even better. But there were loads of EVPs during that investigation.
I can imagine. Monty Python and the coconuts. That's funny.
Now the next one is a follow-up. We actually went back to Kings Mountain battlefield. And remember when I said during the EVP that it was coming up from the ridge? I pointed up to a ridge.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that when I did that during that clip? This next one, we're on the other side of the ridge. We're up on top of the ridge, directly opposite where we were standing. So play that whenever you're ready.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, I heard it.
You heard it.
Hear what? Seconds of it.
Yep, me too.
That was interesting.
I heard it.
Okay, I heard it.
You heard it.
Hear what? Seconds of it.
Yep, me too. I heard it too.
What'd you hear?
The horse.
The horse. It was little like a short gallop.
Yes, and it was coming from right over there.
Yep.
That's wild.
And I got this thing running, so hopefully we caught it.
So you heard it now too.
I heard it.
Did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
Just got a big spike.
I heard that.
Went up to 4.
I'm not getting anything.
Okay, let's just listen.
Serious.
You heard it.
Hear what? Seconds of it.
Yep, me too. I heard it too.
What'd you hear?
The horse.
The horse. It was little like a short gallop.
Yes, and it was coming from right over there. That's wild.
And I got this thing running, so hopefully we caught it.
See, you heard it now too.
Heard it.
Did you hear that? Just got a big spike.
I heard that.
Went up to 4.
I'm not getting
Okay, let's just listen. That was wild. It's the second time I heard it.
I love that one. I like the way she goes, I heard it.
But the cool thing was, now where I was pointing, where the galloping was coming from, that was triangulated. That was right in the center where I heard it the last time. And where we heard it the second time, it was happening right between those two spots. So we know exactly where the phenomenon occurs. Now, it was also reinforced by the fact that we caught it on not only on our regular camera, but on my DVR sunglasses. We caught it on both cameras, the phenomenon. So it was definitely there.
Yeah.
DVR
That's
sunglasses. Cool. You're the James Bond of the paranormal.
No shit.
I just have sunglasses, and I'm impressed with that.
That's right.
Well, they've come a long way. They look good now, but back then that was almost 14 years ago. So the video quality wasn't quite there, but it just goes to show that they were still able to capture that. So that's the phantom galloping of Kings Mountain twice on 2 different visits and on 3 pieces of equipment.
That's pretty
Yeah,
damn
good. Now we're gonna have to go to Kings Mountain because that's only about an hour and 15 minutes from us.
Yeah, it's not far from us.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
The place is very, very active. At least when we went there, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Another place to go visit.
In the spring.
Yeah, not now.
Now,
Cool.
it seems as though I may have a knack of capturing horses, because you're going to hear another horse galloping in a totally different location. And this one was this past year, in Jockey Hollow in Morristown, New Jersey. Now, totally wasn't looking for it. I was doing an EVP session in the in the cemetery that's in Jockey Hollow, which if anybody doesn't know what Jockey Hollow is, it was a Revolutionary War encampment. The entire Continental Army was camped there during the worst snowstorm on record. I believe it was almost 300 soldiers died there from exposure. And a few of them, there was actually a rebellion at the same time. A couple people were executed. Washington was not for capital punishment, but he felt he had to do it to maintain order. So the place isn't normally investigated, but I always wanted to go there, and I'm glad I did because we captured another horse. And that's clip number 3.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Is that why you wear the hat?
I
That's
wear
right.
it as a tribute to all the horses that I've captured on EVP.
That's right. And if you didn't capture horses, you wouldn't be wearing the hat furlong. Furlong.
Jenny just said she loves Jockey Hollow. And yes, Jockey Hollow is an amazing place. Yep, there we go.
John Dutton has nothing on Bobby Gallo, y'all.
Seriously.
Here's that clip. Here we go.
Would like to convey, please speak into this box that I'm holding.
That one was running.
Yeah, that's a
And
good one.
When I heard it, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is another horse. But it was years. This is a decade later.
Third one's a trifecta. Sorry, another horse.
Oh, but
That's amazing though.
Put money on there.
Yeah, that one's really, I mean, they were all good, but that one,
Yeah, that's loud.
they were racing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was super
Loud,
loud.
it was loud.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was loud, but I mean, I did amplify it a little bit, so that you could hear it.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we're doing EVP, evidence review, some of these waveforms are very, very small. And in order to really bring it out, you have to amp it up.
These galloping steps, whatever, they sounded more consistent, like more at a rhythm, where the other ones seemed more like, I don't know, like movement, like they were moving.
Sure.
This one seemed more like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I mean, they were all good.
No, I understand completely what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
The ghost horse whisperer.
The ghost horse whisperer.
the ghost. I don't know. Like I said, all 3 of these were unexpected. We weren't expecting to capture any of them. I'm trying to get some type of EVP. Now I got dozens and dozens and dozens of EVPs, but I don't have a lot of horses, if you will. So,
Yeah.
so that's it with the horses. I got the 3 horse EVPs. But what I wanted to do next was, a lot of times we get footsteps. And I have a number of footstep EVPs that I think are pretty good. But this was also a very, very early one. We were at Antietam Battlefield. And if you know anything about the old Dunker Church, which is right in the center of the battlefield, during the battle, they literally had bodies piled up like cordwood outside of this little church. So we went inside the church. We, wanted to see what we could capture, and what we got really surprised us. And basically what it is, it's the sound of footsteps walking across the wooden floor. So that's the next one.
All right. So let's take a listen. Here we go.
I heard it. It's not her.
Footsteps.
Yeah.
I thought that was you.
No. Yeah, it was around her. I heard it around her.
You heard that too?
Take pictures by her. Nicole.
I heard it too.
Quick, get some shots over here.
No, I didn't. I heard it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Heavy boots and real slow pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's-
immediately following that, we did an Ovilus session, and we had a message that said "ball hard," like a cannonball, but I didn't think it was good enough to actually put in here. But we were getting all of these relevant communications. Antietam was pretty powerful. It really was.
Yeah, there were definitely footsteps and definitely heavy ones. The guy might not have been a horse, but as heavy as his footsteps was, he was definitely hung like one. So,
Right,
hey, if you think I'm not going out,
rim shot for that.
boom, boom,
boom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Christoph.
Yeah, so we're kind of like blowing through these evidence clips that you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to talk slower so it doesn't.
We only have one more evidence clip, but this one's interesting. This one's interesting because it was also at Antietam. And there's a follow-up to this, which I believe is a mind blower. So this is why I kind of like saved this one for last. This is a regular EVP. Now, I call these evidence strings where more than one thing happens at once. Ron, you have another name for this.
For what these are?
For when more than one piece of evidence happens simultaneously.
On different
devices.
I call it evidence strings. The more evidence strings you have, the closer you come to proof. I think you call it synchronicity. Is that it?
Oh no.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, now
I mean, it could be synchronicity, but
yeah, I don't know if I would go with synchronicity. Maybe. I think when you get that though, I think that's remarkable because you have multiple things to corroborate something at the same moment. I'm trying to think of what the term is that I've used for that.
Yeah, we can't think of the term right now.
I think you mentioned it to me once, which is why I was asking you because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've actually spoken about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what it would be, but I mean, it sounds like what you're referring to would be something more analogous to the same way you would look at something like entanglement, when it's not multiple things being measured; it's different perspectives of the same thing represented in different images or in different representations of what's actually happening. It may be something like that.
Jenny calls it paranormal lasagna.
I remember that from Gettysburg.
That's what she does, yeah.
Coming from a true Italian from the East Coast, right there. Little bit of regatta.
So
Is this the same time frame?
The perfect storm. I like that. So basically, what happened is we're on Bloody Lane Trail, and we get an EMF communication going, and then I ask if it would give me a name. Let's just play it. But it's the kicker. After all of this is over, I have a kicker for you. So play that next.
Right on.
Here we go.
So, folks, we're going to try a Ghost Meter Pro session here to see if anything's around that might want to communicate with us. Let's turn this around. We'll get it on camera so that the camera can actually see the needle if it does happen. Anything yet, Nick?
Yeah, I saw a yellow one.
Yellow one right around here, right next to Court.
Hi.
No, actually two. One right there, one right there, blue.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're looking at it. They're
Okay.
trying to figure it out.
She's got to stand in front of it.
Thank
you. Are you a Confederate soldier? Ping 1s for yes and 2s for no. Are you a Confederate soldier?
Give it a chance.
Yes. Do you think the battle's still going on here?
No.
Are you trapped here?
I'm getting chills.
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anyone you want us to communicate to you? For you?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you say their name into the black box that I am holding? As hard as you can. Say the name into this.
Yes.
Okay, shh, everyone. Shh.
No.
Do you have to leave? Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you for talking to us. You can leave now. It's my birthday, though.
No.
No?
No? You want to stay?
You want us to stay?
Did you die here in Bloody Lane? Is this where you died?
We just asked 2 questions.
Yes, you did die here.
You did die here.
Yeah.
Daddy, come on now, Daddy. You know the rules. One question at a time.
That's right. Using the spirit.
Daddy, stop talking.
Yeah, that kid's sharp.
Yeah, she's like, stop. She gave you the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw that, right? You caught that. He gave you the hand. That's right. Now, okay. Yeah, Bobby, did you notice that you started to get better evidence after you started to bring your kid on? Oh, Anthony, I say this all the time. When I go out myself, I don't get nearly as much evidence as when I bring my family. When they are like magnets. And when I bring them, it's like an evidence fest. When I go alone, it's hit or miss. It's absolutely the case, no question.
Wow.
Now, here's the kicker to that clip. Now, the clip kind of stands on its own because here we have this EMF communication going that's corroborating with the EVP. I mean, it's in perfect synchronicity with what's going on with the EVP. However, here's the kicker. I did some post-evidence research on this. I did some investigations on that because I wanted to find out who this guy Paul Lee was, and I came up empty. And I had thought that this was never going to be solved. It was just a random EVP, or maybe it was just pareidolia, and it sounded like Paul Lee, and it wasn't. I just didn't know. So I just let it go. I published it, and this happened. I actually wrote about this in my second book, and I'm going to read it to you because it'll be better than me explaining it, because I already explained it once in the book. On August 27th, 2013, someone searching the internet for information on Antietam Battlefield in Sharpsburg, Maryland, inadvertently stumbled upon our Gallo Family Ghost Hunter episode entitled Footsteps of Antietam, and decided to post it to a well-known Civil War website. So somebody's found the episode, they posted to a Civil War website. As expected, it received mixed reviews from historians. Some believe the evidence contained and some did not. But I took this rare opportunity to seek the answer to a question that had been eluding me since we captured that unusual EVP on that field. During the filming of the episode, we were hiking down Bloody Lane Trail, 1.5-mile trench, where the bloodiest single-day battle in American history took place, actually worse than Gettysburg in a single day. 23,000 soldiers were killed just that one day, wounded or missing. All right. Now, at one point during the hike, we established a dialogue with what appeared to be a fallen soldier. We captured the clear name Paul Lee after Courtney asked if there was anyone they wished us to contact. I spent a good deal of time researching this name after the investigation to no avail. I chalked it up to one of those communications that would remain a mystery until one historian on the website did his own research and came up with the answer. Surgeon Paul C. Lee, 3rd Alabama Infantry, heavily involved in Antietam. Dr. Paul Cornelius Lee, 1836, death 13th of March, 1875, age 39.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
So there you go. It was confirmed. Paul Lee was the field surgeon. There was a spirit looking for the field surgeon, and it corroborated the evidence. So
wow,
that's very cool.
Very cool.
And the way it happened was pretty cool too.
Yeah,
how that happened.
And literally, that happened years after the fact. That somebody researched that knew what they were researching, and found Paul Lee, who, by the way, now also remember, the ghost answered, said it was a Confederate. Paul Lee was the Confederate surgeon.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of coincidence.
Right.
Right.
That you can't dismiss. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
you know what was interesting though that I loved about that thing with the yes and no when it said, "Do you believe you're still in the battle?" and it said no. That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. I'm sorry to have interrupted, but I wanted to say that.
No, you're not interrupting me at all. No. But that's what sells it for me. What sells it for me was the was the validation rather of the name from somebody who actually knew who was there.
Yeah.
And if you look up on the internet, you can actually see the guy's gravestone and everything, the surgeon.
Oh.
But at the time, we had absolutely no clue. We didn't even know what we were looking for when we got that evidence. So
That is cool.
Yeah.
Well, and the timing of not to mention what you just said, but the timing and the relevance that your daughter was getting on the EMF detector was just, I mean, she was fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 for no. And man, those were strong no's and strong yeses.
Yeah.
And
I
good
mean,
questions.
Undeniable answers. Yeah.
And a firm hand.
Dad.
And a firm, she's actually like in the next room. She's home from law school this weekend. So she's,
Aww.
yeah. She was a little kid. And now she's going to law school. So yeah, she's doing the hand out of the judge.
I was just going to say, which makes total sense. Dad, you asked 2 questions. Now she's in law school. That makes total sense.
Yeah. She was laying down the law back then.
That's right.
I would tell her to come say hi, but she probably won't. So.
Well, she was impressive then. I could imagine now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, she still goes on investigations with us. I mean, so she does absolutely.
That's very cool.
Very cool.
That's very cool. When people look at the type of evidence that gets captured sometimes and think that we're speculating too much, connecting the dots out of wishful thinking, then you look at that and it starts to seem more implausible that it's not what you think it is, right? It's really...
Well, yeah. I mean, let's look at the evidence strings. Okay. There's a lot of skeptics of the Ghost Meter Pro, and that's fine. I really don't care. That's fine. But now you get an EVP that's corroborating exactly what's going on that piece of equipment. And now you got a Civil War historian validating the EVP.
Right.
So Klaus Heinemann, which I talk about all the time, I talk about this guy all the time. He said, what did he say in his book? He said that it's a statistical impossibility when too many things like that happen in a row for it not to be something intelligent.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there comes a point where you have to say, okay, there's something here. There's something happening. You know, that's how he looks at it too. So.
Yeah, no, it's a great way to look at it. Yeah, it's too much. And it all, the guy said he was Confederate. The doctor's name that happened to be a real doctor person who was involved in that was on the same side, right? If he was the opposing side, he wouldn't be looking for the other people's doctor, unless of course it was an HMO thing, which we won't get into that. But I mean, so everything lined up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's even crazier. And this is, so shameless plug for Bobby's daughter. Anybody watching right now, this girl's in law school, okay? If this girl was that specific about paranormal evidence, you want her as your lawyer, because when it comes to physical evidence, I'm telling you right now,
You want her on your side.
that's right.
Let me see if she'll come in. Hold on.
I mean, if anybody could have found the fugitive's one-armed man, this girl could have.
Right?
No compound questions, Dad. No compound.
That was so funny because who would have expected that? You know, he's the one teaching the kid.
Right, and she corrects him. That is
He asks
awesome.
a question, then he throws a question on top of him, and she's like, "Please, sir."
Say hi in the camera. There she is, folks.
There she is.
Hi.
We were just
Your
showing them
business card when you graduate.
Yeah, we wanted to meet you.
No, I just wanted to say
Impressive work.
We were talking about how great you were on the Antietam episode,
Oh,
where you put up. Well, you did that more than one time, where you used to put up your hand and tell me to stop talking, so that we could get the EVP.
2 questions on top of each other.
That's right.
No.
One question at a time.
That was fantastic.
That's awesome.
All right, Katie, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bye.
There she goes.
So she's going to law school, you said, right? She's going to law school?
Yeah.
She's in law school right now.
That's fantastic.
Very
Awesome.
cool. Very cool.
She's home on Christmas break. She came home today.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great timing.
I have
Yeah.
a feeling she's going to be a great lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Well, you know what I always say? I say ghost hunting had something to do with it because my kids learned how to be fearless. You know, where most people run screaming just at the thought of a ghost, these kids were running looking for them and talked to them and seen them and felt them. And now they're not afraid of anything.
Right.
So I think, you know, in that line of work, you have to be kind of fearless. So,
Yeah.
Well, and they had a good teacher.
oh, thank you.
Yep. I would agree.
You guys are too nice. You guys are way too nice. You really are.
You're a stellar personality. You're one of the rare people in the field who leans into an academic approach to this stuff. Still open-minded. You always spur on. Mentioned it today earlier. Really thought-provoking discourse on topics, and you work well with others.
Well, and you know, contrary to popular belief, I'm not a true believer. A lot of people go, I'm a true believer because, you know, I do, you know, accept a lot of things. But the reality is like we've debunked way more than we ever presented or put in the episode. Like we debunked a lot. And especially my wife, she wants no part of it if it's not real, if it's not genuine. So, you know, when something passes a certain criteria, then we'll put it out there. So, you know, I try to be as discerning as possible. I really do, even though I do accept a lot. And I know, Ron, I think we've discussed this at one point. I find there's nothing wrong with trying to prove something that we have a belief or, something that we accept to be real. Like, you know, I believe in the afterlife. I believe in spirits and ghosts. So yes, I do look for evidence that supports what I believe. Mm-hmm. Some people believe that a scientific approach shouldn't be that way, that we should come from a neutral position, but I think that's pretty much impossible. I think people by their very nature either believe or they don't.
Yeah, there's an objective truth that comes from an unbiased position whatsoever is a complete red herring. Everybody has some level of belief or bias going into what they're looking for. You have to try to be as discerning as you can with the evidence you go after and how you look at it, for sure. But yeah, that's you deal with what you have. And I think even the scientific method is not, science doesn't prove, math proves. Science leans into what's most probable based on all the known factors and ways to try to pursue an answer. And that's assuming that with what we do, we know all the possible ways. I don't think that we do. No. So we work with the ones that we can, and then you debunk sometimes, and sometimes you can't. And that's, to me, that's not a belief system. To me, that's simply processing
how you do things.
Exactly.
It's just how you do things.
That's a protocol, not propaganda. I mean, it's just, that's how you do it.
Right.
And you talk about Bobby, from all of your investigations, what's the most profound experience you've had? I'll answer that in a second, but I do want to touch upon what Ron just said about math proving. Now, if you look at the law of averages and you take all of the anecdotal experience since the beginning of time, and in modern times, you take all of the electronic, photographic, auditory evidence, and you take everything that ITC, everything that we have gathered, okay? What are the odds that just one piece of evidence of all of those hundreds of thousands of pieces of evidence since the beginning of time, how many of those are true and how many of them need to be true in order to prove that the paranormal exists? The answer is just one. If just one is genuine, you've proven everything.
The black swan theory is every swan is white until you find one black swan, then you've now proven that is not a rule anymore.
It's true.
Right. You no longer have a regularity of nature. I got you. Yeah.
Well, so, and then I believe in that law of averages. I mean, not everything could be pareidolia. Not everything could be a figment of the imagination. I mean, right now, the debunk du jour is that moldy houses cause ghostly experiences. I said, that's great. I said, but how does mold leave an EVP?
Right.
You're only explaining hallucination. You're not explaining physical evidence.
And guess what hallucination is? Hallucination is a conscious experience. So it's
Exactly
still
right.
real. It's still real. What's debatable now is the causal properties behind what it is you're experiencing, not whether it's real.
Right.
Of course.
And take the scientific, the mathematical equations out of it, because statistics are a theory anyway, because you can't, in a statistical value, you don't have actual numbers. You're just going on your statistical values, but take people's belief systems in it, right? You can't believe that there's an afterlife. You can't believe that there's a God, and you can't believe that we as people leave our body behind and move forward into a better place without believing that the energies exist somewhere between here and there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, just to answer Todd's question, what was my most profound experience? I actually wrote about it in my second book. And Sylvia Rossi, she's the psychic who was responsible for it. My most profound experience was not something that I did on my investigations. It was something that happened to me while I was 5 states away from my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law sat for a reading from Sylvia Rossi. Now, Sylvia, if anybody knows anything about Sylvia, she is a psychic who's worked with police departments to find missing people. She's the real deal. And of any psychics I've ever known, she's the one who I trust the most. But what happened was midway through the reading, Sylvia had stopped and she didn't know me at the time. And she said that she needed to get a message to a Bobby. Do you know a Bobby? And my sister-in-law says, yes, that's my brother-in-law. She says, there's a message coming through from a Vince. Do you know a Vince? She goes, yeah, that's my deceased father-in-law. She says, tell Bobby that I don't look like that anymore. Tell him that I'm young again. Now, that might not mean anything to you, but what had happened was, for years since my father's passing, my father died of pancreatic cancer in 1983. I was having nightmares and dreams about my father in his emaciated cancer state. I would just have them over and over and over again, to the point where I was almost going to seek, some people were saying I should seek professional help because I just couldn't shake these dreams. And nobody knew about them up until that point. I was keeping it to myself. So when my sister-in-law told me that, I was thunderstruck, because it was my father coming to me through a psychic 5 states away at the time, because my sister-in-law called me and said, Bob, I don't know what this means. You got to tell me what this means. When she told me, I dropped the phone, because it was my father telling me that he did not look like that anymore, that in the afterlife he was young again and he was healthy. So that was one of the catalysts for me re-entering the paranormal field, because I was so thunderstruck by that I had to know more. Yeah. And that was probably my most profound experience, because I didn't know how that was possible. Now, just about 4 years ago, I had a near-death experience. Again, my father came into play. I was having gallbladder attacks. So I went to the hospital and had to have my gallbladder out because they said it looked like a bag of marbles, basically, with so many stones. So I get through the first surgery, and my bilirubin levels were going through the roof. And the doctor comes in and says, "This is not good. We think a rogue stone got blocked in one of your ducts." They did a CAT scan. Sure enough, he goes, "You got to go back in for a second surgery." So there I am, sitting in my hospital bed, waiting for them to take me for the next surgery. And I'm getting very, very woozy because when your bilirubin levels back up, what's happening is your body's poisoning itself.
Right.
And if you go to sleep, sometimes you never wake up. They say it's actually a very peaceful way to go. But here I am, fading in and out. And all of a sudden, my father appeared at the foot of my bed. And he was wearing a white suit, which he never wore, but he was wearing a white suit. Don't ask me why. And he asked me if I was ready to go. And I told him, "No, Dad, I'm not. My kids still need me." Nodded his head, turned around, and just like that, I mean, literally, he was gone.
Oh, wow.
And they took me in, and I had the surgery, and everything was fine. I'm sitting here today, but I've had some pretty profound experiences, and none of them were related to paranormal investigation. But this is how I'm trying to validate these experiences, by doing this and finding out and gathering evidence through paranormal investigation. So I'm not really in this to be famous or to be a TV star. I just want to know what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh,
That's
those are
fantastic.
two great
Very
stories.
cool experiences.
Great stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would venture to say that as incredible as your body of work is, and will probably continue to be, that will probably always be your most profound experience. How do you top that? I mean, that's, and why would you want to? That's great.
I know that whole gallbladder experience was really, extreme. No, the gallbladder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I literally, the doctors even said, yeah, I was ready to check out at that point. That's what they had to get me back in so quickly. But when I wrote my second book, I had to interview Sylvia. When I got a hold of her and I told her the first story, she couldn't believe it because she's just the messenger. She doesn't know the backstory behind a lot of her readings. She didn't know how profound what she had done was. So she consented to do the interview, which she never does interviews like that. And, to this day, she's one of the few that I know are the real deal. And I've always said that, psychics come in three flavors: the real ones, the ones that want to be real, and the ones that think they're real. So those are the three. So,
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, with that statement, Bobby's camera's about to die.
I'm looking. It's holding on. It's holding on.
Good for you.
Awesome.
We weren't sure. All right.
I'm watching it.
We have reached the point in the show called Shameless Plug. So, Bobby, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can watch some of your clips. What do you got coming up? No shame. Let it all fly.
Well, the cool thing is that I have a link tree, and if they go to one location, they could find our web series and where they could buy my books, which is right there next to my name. It's www.ghosthunter.ws, not .com, .ws, and they could find Family Spirits, my first book, my second book, Family Spirits 2, very creative on that second title. And if you like magic, I'm also a professional magician. I did write a book on magic that just came out in Magic School Archive. Picture of me about 24 years ago. But that's when most of the material was written. So that's why I use that one. And yes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're growing like leaps and bounds, but we'd love you to be part of our paranormal family. We have a lot of fresh material up there and an active community page. And you can find that all through ghosthunter.ws, or just go to YouTube and look Gallo Family Ghost Hunters in the search bar, and it pops right up.
Awesome. Fantastic. Anybody got anything special coming up?
No.
Nope.
Busy.
My son's coming back from college this coming Saturday.
Very nice. That is
Another
very
kind of Papa.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do have one thing. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night to Seekers Paranormal Historians Chronicles with Jenny Colucci, Anthony Simonelli, and Kim Geyer, where Tony Cherie, Audra, and I are going to be on, talk about the Phelps Dodge Mining Hospital and some of the stuff that we captured there, guys. So make sure you tune into that. Guys, thank you so much. I'm not going to get way heavy into this, but thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Bobby, for being one of our final guests on the show. We much appreciate it.
You know what? What an honor. Seriously, guys, it was an honor. Thank you.
It's an honor to have you, Mr. Gallo.
Yeah.
Really, truly an honor to be one of your final guests. I'm serious. I was like, when I heard about that, I was like, oh man, and they chose me. Really? Come on.
You gotta end good, right?
It's the hat.
It's the hat, man. Yeah.
It's the hat. You gotta end good.
I knew that was a good investment.
It is. It's in the book. I put you. What did I call it? I called it the badass hat or something.
I love it.
All right, everybody watching, thank you so much. And I'm sure there'll be more thank yous coming next week. But make sure you tune in next week. We will go live at 8:30 p.m. next week. And we will go until we're done, which will probably be between 10 and 11 o'clock on the East Coast. But we will make sure that we go out with a bang. And if you don't know us, you don't know that we won't go out with a bang, right? So make sure you guys tune in next week. Same time, same channel. One last time, Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. And the only way you're going to get there and watch the very last show, guys, stay haunted. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?